Hello, so let's get started with Adobe Illustrator. The first thing you want to do is to set up your file. There are many ways of doing this, basically 4 ways actually. Once you click on file, you go to new and then you start setting up your documents. You could actually click on Ctrl N and it pops up this again, or you can click on create new, you have the same thing, and finally you can click on more presents and you have the same thing. If you've used several files in the past, it's going to be populated on this recent folder here. Adobe have also created several other kind of document format that you may work with. We have mobile, web, print, film, art, and illustration. So whichever file size you want to work with, you might see them here. For example, if you don't even have anyone here, you could actually customize yours. Yeah, you are free to customize yours. So let me assume I'm going to be working with A4. I'm going to click on A4 and I can change the file name. Let me assume that the name of this file is Get Started. You can name it whatever you want depending on the project you are working on. And I can always modify the width and the height. Let me assume I'm going to be working with 1080 by 1350. I'm going to keep this thing in pixel. Of course, you have several unit measurement to pick from. I'm going to keep this thing in pixel. So this is the one I picked for myself. You might decide to keep yours in inches, feet, and whatever unit you want to use, you are free to do that. Of course, you can also change the width and the height by, once you bring your cursor close to the width, you can increase by pushing your cursor to the right, and you can decrease by pushing your cursor to the left. See that? Yeah, so the same thing can happen in the height. You can do that as well. Now the next thing you want to do is to change your orientation. Feel free to change your orientation from portrait to landscape depending on the nature of the work that you are doing. The next thing also to look at is the artboard. The artboard is the number of pages that you'll be working with. Let's assume you're working on a brochure that has 12 pages, 48 pages. You can modify the pages to whatever you want. Say that I can change it to 48 pages. I'm going to keep this in at 1, but feel free to explore. All right, so the next thing also I'm going to be adding to this document is the bleed. The bleed is kind of a border that is going to surround my artboard to kind of help me know when I'm overshooting away from my artboard. I'm going to keep this thing at 5. Yeah, automatically it's going to apply the border all around the file that I have, the file size that I have. So the next thing also to decide is the color mode of the work that you are doing. You can decide to keep it in RGB or CMYK. RGB stands for red, green, and blue, while CMYK stands for cyan, M for magenta, Y for yellow, and K for black. Now, if your work is going to be like a digital published content, it's advisable that you keep your color mode in RGB. But if this work is going to be printed, it's advisable that you keep it on CMYK. The next thing also to decide on is the raster effect to use. Of course, 300 ppi is like the highest raster effect, like the highest resolution that you want to use. You can decide to select any ppi you want. Some people, when they choose RGB here, they prefer to keep their ppi in screen mode, but you can decide to have more than that, so far it gives you the end result that you want. You feel free to also explore as you do several projects in the future. So once I have this selected and I'm happy with what I have here, let me keep this thing back to 1080 and then keep this thing back to 1350. Yeah, once I'm okay with this, I can click on create. Once I do that, it will create the document for me. So the red border that you are seeing is the bleed. That's what is called, the bleed that we just had. So to kind of help us to know when we are overshooting away from our preset size of documents. Yeah, all right, I hope this helps you to get started with Adobe Illustrator. See you in the next video.